This is Kick-Ass Kyle Storm, New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Famer. You like independent wrestling? You like women's wrestling? Hardcore? Shoot interviews? Check out Chop's videos. You'll love what you see.
What's up, guys? Teddy Goods here, and for all of you who are junkies of early 90s independent wrestling, especially from the New England area, I need to let you guys know about Chop's videos on YouTube. I am a subscriber, and I watch his videos frequently. Tons of NEWA stuff, Tony Rumble stuff, CWA, Primal Conflict, just all kinds of hidden gems. A few matches of myself early in my career, so check it out. Chop's videos on YouTube. Have a good one, guys.
Much to know, so we don't care no more. Been afraid so many times, but we ain't scared no more. Seen so many things, so none's new to me.
Me and turns pale white and runs off, and then when I walk up the stairs, it's Paul Heyman, New Jack, Devon Dudley, and Tommy Dreamer. So that's, in a shorter version, that's pretty much how I met Jack, was through testifying at this trial, which you all know that at the end of that he was fine, he was acquitted. So everything was dropped on that aspect of it, but we ended up remaining being friends after that. In fact, I think what stuck to him was the fact that we had went to lunch on day 2, and him and I just sat at a little restaurant on the corner, and he was like, "Oh man, Jose, I just want to say thank you for doing this for me," and stuff like that. And I was like, no offense, man. There's no thank you needed, because I wasn't doing this necessarily for you. I was doing this necessarily for guys like me. I said, what he's doing is what Eric was doing by doing this, was closing doors for guys like myself and a lot of other guys in the area that could have had an opportunity to wrestle for ECW, and unfortunately never got that chance because of that. But I was very pointed when I said it to him, and I think he was taken aback, because Jack has a very strong demeanor, and somebody talking back to him, I think, kind of caught his attention. It was kind of like, wait a minute, this guy was like, okay. So we just remained close after that, where we stayed in contact along with Devon. I'm still friends with Devon Dudley to this day because of that whole situation. So yeah, he was Jack was an interesting individual for it, but that's how I ended up meeting him, was through that. So like I said, that's how we got Jack to come in for that. That's how I got Jack to come in for a top rope show that I did with him. One of his very first indie appearance on the East Coast was with me. So yeah, that's how. And then Jack showing up at my door at 6 o'clock in the morning was hey, I'm here. It's like, oh great, thanks for the warning. But yeah, that's how I met Jack, was through the trial for the Eric Cool's mass transit incident. So yeah.
Well, like backstage, like I'm here to watch wrestling. You know, I'm here to see some matches. She says, no, come on over. So he takes me over to ringside, and sitting over here front row on the ringside is this group of characters, who I would later find out were all members of a company called Primal Conflict Wrestling. So he's introduced me around, and of course there's Studley Steve Stallion. Without question, there's no Primal without Stud. So he was the owner of the company. So yeah, it was Stud. Trying to think who else was there. Dragonfly, Greg Drago. Met him. Travis Savage. My dear friend Sandy Starr was there. Kid Crazy. I remember they were calling him the little guy. I want to say Livewire Dave Padula was there, but I remember him being there. So he introduced me. Now again, this was not a Primal show. This was one of Joe Bruin's shows. And so they were running an unofficial invasion angle that night. And it wasn't invasion angle like you think, okay, it's one company coming in, they're going to take over the other company, and then these guys have to defend their assets, and it's, company warfare, this and that. No, this was less about, Primal coming in and wanting to take over. It was more about making their presence felt. It was, hey, we do what we want to, we do it when we want to, and who's going to stop us anyway? Yeah, we crashed your show. What are you going to do about it? So it was that, and I found that very, I was very interested in that. It was not a typical, it wasn't just wrestling angle 34A off of a playbook. They were doing something off the books, and it was creative to me. So I'm sitting there in the crowd, and I'm in with legitimate professional wrestlers, and I'm enjoying my first wrestling show, and we're cheering guys that we liked, and we're heckling the guys that we don't like, and I'm chatting with Dragon. We're talking about MMA stuff. I'm just having a ball, and I am starstruck. I mean, I may as well have been sitting there with the NWO. That's how cool these guys were to me, and they were cool. They didn't have to be, they didn't know me from Adam, but I was Verdi's boy, and so to them I was cool, So just sitting there, and throughout the matches, watching the show, and I've never been to an independent show. So again, all I know is what I see on my TV. And so that night I got introduced to all kinds of talent that I had never seen before, that I definitely wanted to see again after that night, and a lot of people who would go on to become big players in Primal Conflict, guys like Kevin Karizma, Prettyboy Hernandez, Jose Perez.
Elite Wrestling or something like that. And we did a few shows there, and then we sort of all went our own separate ways. And through that, there was a partner of Kyle and mine in the team called the Dogs of War, who played into a lot of the growing insecurities that Kyle and I might have had and put a wedge between us. And so the two of us went probably 3 years without talking.
Revere. We went off script, ended up outside. I think we ended up breaking so many chairs that night, as he just threw me into rows and rows and rows of chairs. And everybody said, well, they're plastic chairs. Of course they're going to break and it's not going to hurt. Well, when you're being thrown and a plastic chair is breaking from your own weight with no give, and you hit the floor, it hurts pretty much as it could hurt falling off of anything. And when we ended up getting the bill for the chairs, I couldn't believe we broke as many chairs as we did. So due to the pain of that particular match, since we lost script, that was probably the worst show I had there. So it's a love-hate relationship between me and Revere. And believe it or not, I've gone by the front of that place numerous times since we stopped going, and I can't help it but to chuckle every single time I drive by it.
I think that's coming up later. Is that the four-way?
Yeah, the four-way, yep.
King Kong Bundy was on that show. Any thoughts or memories on him? Was that the first time you met him, or you met him before that?
No. That was the first time I met him. Only time I met him.
Leaving out with Lou Albano. Lou Albano was a very, very good friend of mine. So was Tony Garea. Tony Garea came to my house one year for Thanksgiving. I even sold him a pickup truck. You know, he wanted a pickup. He wanted my pickup truck. For what? I don't know. He said, "Oh, brother, I want to buy that truck off you so much." I said, "What do you want, Tony?" I'm like, "Wait, give me $1,000 for the damn thing." All right, okay, here you go. Here you go, kid. He takes the truck. He drives all the way back to Connecticut, where he was from. But Lou Albano was the guy that he kept me out of all shit business. You know, kept me away from the drugs, kept me away from the steroids, kept me away from the women, this, that, the whole nine yards, you know. And you know, God rest his soul. He was probably one of the last guys that had a true passion for wrestling. Sadly missed. Sadly missed. But
In the Pitbulls, any memories or stories of them?
They were cool dudes. You know, we spoke. You know, I really. It's hard to say. It's like Kronus. I feared more towards him. You know what I mean? The Pitbulls, they did their thing. Wasn't a big fan of the Pitbulls, but you know, Kronus was cool. I veered more to him, hung out with him more. Nice guy as far as, you know, our relationship, us talking, us getting to know each other. But no, they were just cool, man. They were real humble dudes. They didn't have a broom stuck up their asses because they were ECW guys. Nice guys. Really nice guys, man.
Kronus basically became one of the locker room. Wouldn't you say? He became one of the locker room after a little while. He was there a lot.
Yes. Kronus, he did a lot of shows with us. Yeah, he did a lot. I think maybe the Pitbulls did maybe 1-2 shows with us. Kronus did a lot of shows with us. Just like Jacxk did a lot of shows with us. Sandman did a few with us. Tommy did a few with us. Borges did a few with us. Yeah, but I think Kronus and Jacxk, they did more shows with us than anybody.
Yeah, I'd say them two are maybe balls. Them three were like regulars.
Yeah.
Some kind of sleep a hold of something. He started in the crowd while he's like, "Come on, let's give it up for these two." And the crowd started freaking waking up. And I'm like, that's what I should have done. That's what one of us should have done. You know, I was the heel, so maybe Karizma should have did that. I don't know. Maybe I should have did something. I don't know. But anyway, the thing that stands out the most in that match, Karizma went over. I never got the strap from him and, you know, didn't deserve it or whatever it was. Not a problem. At the time, I probably was a little bit sour about it because all I cared about was, man, anybody who's got the strap is that's where it's at. You know what I mean? But I mean, you look at guys like Piper who had the IC strap for like 2 seconds in the WWF at the time. But anyway, regardless, that's getting me off track. But the thing that stands out the most in my mind from that match is Karizma had me straddled on the second rope, like leg wise. So like my legs are like this open on the legs on the second turnbuckle. So I know what he's gonna do, but you know, this is a work. We're working a match. This dude comes in from the opposite corner, hotter than hell, and kicks me square in the nuts. Like bad. So I never been kicked in the nuts that hard before, you know, and we weren't wrestling and we get hurt in that area. This dude, because he went full force. I hoped he meant to kick me on the side, you know, like right below the hamstring. No, that dude, pointy toe and everything, right in the balls. And I dropped, and the referee saw it, and the referee even was like, "Oh," you know, and he came to me, the ref, because I was dying, man. He came to me and he was like, "Do you still want to continue?" And I was like, "Yes." And we did. I don't know how, but damn, dude. I always wondered. I'm like, damn, did he do that on purpose as like a receipt for something, or did somebody tell him like to kick me in the nuts as hard as he did? That dude kicked me so hard in the balls. I never forgot that, bro. I'm hoping, as much as I, respected Kevin Karizma and all, I'm hoping it was an accident, because accidents happen, But if it wasn't, I probably assure you whatever beef he had with me is probably, water under the bridge now. But that's my main takeaway from that match. It was like, that was the biggest literal kick in the nuts I'd ever gotten in my life, man. It was bad.
Slammed George down, and I said, here it comes, bro. Got the lighter fluid, and I poured way too much lighter fluid on my leg. And as you know, my gear, I had frayed up jeans, poured way too much lighter fluid on my leg, hit the lighter, and I saw everything from my hip to my calf go up. And my only thought was, well, got to do what I got to do. So I hit the leg drop. After the leg drop, I got up and I tried to put my leg out with my hands padded out, and it just wouldn't go out, man. It would not go out. So my fear was if I stopped, dropped, and rolled in the ring, that the ring was canvas and it had holes in it. I didn't want to set the ring on fire. So I rolled out of the ring and I hit the floor, and I stopped, dropped, and rolled, and I still didn't go out. So now I got my hands in the fire and I'm trying to put it out, and my tape's melting to my hands. And it was quite the experience, man. So my tape's melting to my hands, and then finally my leg goes out. I finally, between patting it out and rolling, it went out. And I was just laying there with my hands underneath me, and I was just kind of laying there, and my hands, man, they were on fire. They plastic tape just melted to them. And I remember trying to decide whether I was going to finish the match or just call it, And I said, I got a job to do. So I just laid there and I just waited for the cue. Finally, the cue came. I slid in the ring, did the finishing spots, took the match home, and went to the locker room. And had a big, one of the guys actually who was watching the match had gotten ready one of those giant tubs you put ice in for beer. He had gotten one of those ready because he saw what happened. So that was ready for me in the locker room when I got there. And I put my hands in the bucket of ice, and literally it steamed off like a pot of tea, like, and steam came up, And I stayed like that for a little while, man, just holding my hands in the ice. Luckily, one of the guys, I'm not going to mention any names for their sake, he was an ex-nurse. The only thing was he had let his license lapse. So he's like, bro, I can help you, but we got to keep it on the down low. We didn't know if fire was coming. We didn't know if police were coming, or we didn't know what was going on with what had happened, So we went in the ladies' locker room. We asked the girls if we could use their locker room. One of the girls said yes, and she actually stood guard outside the ladies' locker room. He handed me 3 Percocets. I chewed them up and I drank a beer. And he said, this is going to hurt, bro. And he injected my hands with Novocaine, and he rebuilt my hands like Luke Skywalker, man. Cut away the dead skin, got all the plastic tape out of my hands. He rebuilt my hands right there in the locker room, dude. And I'm forever thankful for that. And because he could have gotten in a lot of trouble had anybody found out, he was practicing medicine without his license. But he helped me out, man. He did a lot for me that night. And wrapped my hands up, and that was that, man. That was it was a crazy night.
Oh, that sounds crazy. I've seen it on video, and I know it looked pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, what blew my mind on the video was how you can actually see the lighter fluid splashing off my leg while I was pouring it. I don't know why I don't know why I didn't stop pouring it when it started splashing. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, it was intense, man. It was definitely intense. And I remember this kind of going to the next show, but a couple nights after that show, I called Donnie and we were talking, and I asked him what the plans were the next show, and he said, it's you and Khan for the light heavyweight title. And I said, cool, what are we doing? And he said, that's your belt, bro. You earned it. That's your belt, bro. And I said, I got to do it again, Donnie. And he said, do what again? And I said, set myself on fire. Then nobody's going to expect that shit to happen. I got to do it again. And he said, I love you, man. And that was how the fire really kind of became a prominent position in my career was because of that incident where I got set on fire and then decided to keep doing it because I knew that nobody would expect it. And that's why we worked in the whole cutoff spot, but that's story for the next show. But yeah, that's how the fire incident went down that show. I remember sitting in the locker room with my hands in the ice, and I watched two of the executives from Revere walk by, and one said to the other, he goes, "This is where it happened. I thought it was movie fire." What the fuck is movie fire? What the fuck is movie fire, man? I don't know what it is, but if you can show me that shit so I don't have to really set myself on fire anymore, that'd be great. You know?
Yeah, I think it was the same way with the Jaimie spot. If you watch that, how much lighter fluid they put on that table, and then they didn't even wait. Like, you're supposed to put it on and then wait so it like dries a little bit. Like, they put on a ton and then threw them right away. Like, that's what went wrong in that. If you watch it on video.
Yeah, that's the problem with the Jaimie Pains spot is when you set it on fire, like, so lighter fluid burns cold, you know, like you can hold it and it doesn't burn you. But if it soaks into something, it's obviously going to burn whatever it soaks into. So when you light it, you can watch the fire travel, you know. You need to wait till all of that lighter fluid is ignited so that way there's no splashback. Like you said, they poured it, lit it, and went right into the spot. So all that fluid was still there, splashed onto Jaimie, got soaked into his shirt, and up he went, you know. Now you got cloth burning, and thank God for George that night, man. George is the guy that jumped on Jaimie and tried to put him out. Thank God he was there. You know, thank God he had the right state of mind to know like something's going too far and to jump in. You know, because usually when you're involved in the wrestling industry and you see things happen, you always automatically defer to it's a work and the show's got to go on. You know, so to have that knowledge that it's a work, sometimes you don't jump in for the assist. You know, so I thank God that he was in the right state of mind, that he knew like this is going too far. That dude needs to get put out, and he jumped on him. George was a great guy, man. He's passed away, but he was like family to me. And our family has long history. And I'm just thankful he was there that night to help Jaimie out, man.
I believe this was New Jack's.
Bert and I used to be tight. Some things happened in our personal lives, and sides were taken, and we haven't been the same since. But I wish we were. That was my boy. We were cool. So, and working with him was a fucking breeze. That was a Sunday afternoon fucking stroll in the park. My night off. It really was. He's a daredevil. He put heart and soul into his matches. And he was always worried that he wasn't putting enough in. And, you know, I wish he would have stuck with it and stuck it out. I think he could have got a lot further than most guys. So, yeah, I miss Verdi. He was cool.
And you've worked with Killer Kowalski and have something to do with Killer Kowalski?
Yeah, Killer Kowalski, one of the greatest legends of all time, one of the most feared competitors in the ring, and a staple in New England wrestling. Of course, Killer Kowalski Institute of Pro Wrestling, Malden, Massachusetts. He's trained the likes of Perry Saturn and Triple H and Albert and China and just a whole host of others. But Kowalski, I had the privilege of interviewing in 1999. I think it was a 40-minute interview with him. So that was an absolute pleasure. I got to go to his school, sit down with him. That was the first time that I met him. We had spoke on the phone prior to that. But I've spoke on the phone multiple times with him. I used to receive Christmas cards from him. We would talk all the time. I was his ring announcer for a little while for Killer Kowalski All-Star Wrestling. I replaced Mel Simons. I don't know if he retired at that time or just wasn't working with Killer for a while, but I probably did a full year for Killer Kowalski, got to do different spot shows. It was really a great experience working for Killer. He was such a nice guy, a genuinely funny man. He would just dry sense of humor, always cracking jokes, stuff you wouldn't expect to come out of Killer Kowalski's mouth. Just really funny guy, real nice guy, hardcore vegetarian. And but I mean, how many people can say that they've had the opportunity to work with and work for Killer Kowalski. I mean, I'm blessed to have had that opportunity. So lots of good memories with Walter.
That's awesome. They took him down, and then they wanted you to pay for him or something. And I was like, yeah,
it's worth it.
Them. Yeah, no, they were good. It is worth it, but I got so much other shit to watch. You know what I mean? Right. If I didn't have nothing to watch, I'd probably pay for him.
Right. No, he was talking about it. He was like, yeah, when Jeff Jarrett got that black pussy, he loved it. He wasn't going back. Like, he's crazy.
He is. Him and the other dude. Who's the other dude he brought in as the pimp working under him?
I don't remember.
Reggie Be Fine.
Yes. Oh yeah. Did you ever see the? You ever see the Doug Gilbert shoot from Memphis?
Yeah.
When he was on live at Memphis television, he's like,
"Oh, when he about child support and stuff."
No, Doug Gilbert was on the thing, and he was talking about how Randy Hill smoked crack and Jerry Lawler was raping girls and shit, and then he got fired right after the promo.
Yeah.
That was fucking great.
Wasn't it him that? No, it was Billy Joe Travis got arrested on the air for child support. Did you see that one?
Yep.
Dude, I love that Memphis shit. I love Southern wrestling.
Smoky Mountain's my favorite territory. Smoky Mountain's the best.
You're wearing mine.
Huh?
You're wearing mine.
Oh, World Class?
Yeah.
Yeah, World Class was all right. I mean, I like Gino Hernandez, so he's one of my favorites of all time. But I mean, after pretty much the Freebirds and the Von Erichs, it kind of went downhill.
Oh, yeah. But from like 82, late 82, 83 to 86, say.
They're untouchable. Yeah.
Fire. And then I'd say probably UWF took over from there.
That's another thing, too, that's funny to watch. Like, when Memphis started going to the Sportatorium, there'd be like fucking 200 people in like that 1,000-seat arena. It would look like shit.
Yeah.
When, what's his face? The Booker was on top. Oh,
Eric Embry.
Yeah, and Eric Embry was the big star.
Yeah.
I would catch those shows, too, on TV.
I have all of them. I'm probably going to stop putting them up if they let me.
No one knows the tape library. No one knows the tape library for Memphis.
Right. I have them all. Like from the.
I mean, you can just put them up, and if they tell you to take them down, they take them down. I mean, WWE technically owns a Smoky Mountain license, and you know someone has uploaded every Smoky Mountain television show to YouTube, and they haven't taken
losing
it
Nick
down.
Steele was a tough one. Even though Nick Steele and I weren't always met eye to eye, saw eye to eye, that was a tough loss in the business for me. It did allow me, like his funeral and his wake and stuff did allow me to see some of the old guys again and really apologize for the person that I was those days. You know what I mean? Teddy Goods was one of them that I had a bit of an ego with, maybe not as big as some people, but you know, at the time, the booking had changed in Top Rope, and a lot of favoritism was being played, and I put the blame on a lot of things on a certain group of guys, and I felt really like horrible now that, you know, being so removed from the business and removed from that ego that, you know, I went up to Teddy and I said, man, I apologize for being the dick that I was. You know what I mean? You're a good dude. You deserve all the best in the world, bro. You know, and he was really like, dude, I really appreciate it. There was a poll, even before this happened, there was a poll that went up, and me and him had not even had this conversation. And a poll went up and it said, who in the New England indie scene do you think, you know, deserves a shot? And my vote was Teddy Goods. And I think that really surprised him. That he was like, dude, thanks. I really appreciate that. You know what I mean? And it's come full circle because from what I hear, he's what did I hear? AEW maybe?
Yeah, he was on Doc, I think, or Doc Elevation.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yep. You know, it comes full circle. He another guy that, like, when you first met him, he weighed, you know, 130 pounds soaking wet.
green as could be, but he, he's busted his ass over the years, and his look is good. His whole demeanor is really good. His gimmick is good. You know what I mean? It's really nice to see, him getting his opportunity to really shine.
Yeah, wasn't he with the Score at the very beginning?
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. I mean, when the Score came in, the Southern Bad Boys were the tag team champions at the time, and the booking kind of changed hands, and I didn't like the way things were going. Now, mind you, I didn't mind dropping the belts. I didn't mind doing a job, but you got to do it the right way. We were getting jobbed out week in, week out. When we had the big events where it's supposed to culminate, come to a head, we were getting beat up. But that's because the booking and the Score were the same clique. You know what I'm saying? So I was really bitter about that. You know what I mean? And the owner of the company just kind of let the Indians run the show. And that really hurt. You know what I mean? Like, the biggest thing with that company that really made me stop wrestling was I had that incident with Don Vega where I blew up my PCL, and I left to heal up.
I want your ass in the fucking ring. MMA fight style, death match style, glass around. I don't give a flying fuck. I just need to teach you some fucking respect. I need to teach you who are those that allowed you to do what you fucking do. To rob promoters of money for the laziness that you bring to the fucking ring. These fans, you have them in the palm of your hands.
So at the time of Primal coming into play, the independent scene, the landscape was basically, you had Chaotic, you had, I think it was WWA, they were kind of out of Boston. You had NWA New England. Yankee Pro was kind of in the same area, Fall River, New Bedford, that was close by. And you had NEWA / RIWA, which basically were the same people. And then that's where Primal came in. And it was not like the others. All the others were basically similar style, family friendly. Primal definitely not. And the thing about Primal too, like the name, like when I heard Primal Conflict, the first time I heard Primal Conflict, it was like, wow, it's not championship wrestling or wrestling federation or any of that typical stuff. It didn't have that in it. It was just Primal Conflict. And so right away, I mean, that stuck out to me, and it was like, I got to be a part.
And they ask me, they say, hey, have you ever taken a chair shot before? Now, I had never taken a chair shot before, but I'm not going to say that I never took a chair shot before. So I go, chair shot. I do that kind of stuff all the time. I take chair shots at home just for kicks, you know what I mean? So at any rate, they're like, okay, great, cool. Are you comfortable taking a chair shot from Balls Mahoney? Am I comfortable? I go, I saw this guy on TV. Of course I'll take a chair shot from Balls Mahoney. And so I can't exactly remember how it was set up, but like I was, presented as a heel, I think, for the first match. I actually twisted my ankle in the first match with Sam. I think I was trying to do a moonsault or some sort of like flip action or whatever like that. It landed funny and that didn't feel too good, but I was like, what do I need an ankle for to take a chair shot? So later in the show, I'm the heel, Balls is obviously the gigantic face. And it's some sort of thing where it's like, I turn around and Balls is there and he waffles me. And I remember I do it nice and slow. I remember the crowd was super hot. And he hits me with this chair shot. Now, because I was such a fan and because I was so, had such integrity, of course I refused to put my hands up. Nowadays, or not that long after that, I would probably put my hands up, because if you're thinking about it, in reality, if someone's about to hit you over the head with a chair, you wouldn't just sit there with your hands at your hips. You would put your hands up. But back then, forget about it. So I refused to put my hands up, of course. and Balls absolutely lights into me. And I got hit, there was a flash of white light, and then I was on the ground. And like, I wasn't unconscious when I was on the ground, but the trip from standing upright to flat on my back, it didn't happen. Just like a flash, and I lost like a half second. All of a sudden I was just on the mat. So, obviously it was a pretty good shot. Crowd is ballistic. I crawl out of the ring, go down the stairs, and I knew that the crowd could still see me like a little bit. So I throw myself down the stairs. I was really into it. I throw myself down the stairs, and I actually got like one of the workers or like the stage guys or the ring guys are like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And I'm like, "Dude, I'm a pro wrestler. I'm working here." So it's like, "Oh, okay." But like, that was just great. And someone actually snapped a picture. And here it is. And you can see, obviously, my hands are down by my hips. And the bend in the chair from where it hit my head. And that's legit. So right there, boom, then all of a sudden I was on the ground. So someone was nice enough to take a pretty professional looking picture. And, that still hangs in my house to this day.
Pro Wrestling Hall of Famer. But I am also the creator of the most violent hardcore fed to ever hit New England called Primal Conflict. Back in 2000, Primal Conflict was my idea. I invented it. I was sitting in Wes's Rib House, eating my dinner, and I decided to name it Primal Conflict Wrestling. I wanted to start a fed that was more hardcore than anything anybody had ever seen in New England. And this is my creation, Primal Conflict Wrestling. Again, I created it in 2000. My first show was at Club Stars called Primal Beginnings. The reason I did that entire show was to get control of the New England independent scene.